welcome to Small Talk, a space here on RNAO where we can talk about health issues. Nearly 20,000 international educated nurses are waiting to be processed, many of them waiting for 10 or more years. And to talk about this, we are here with Dr. Doris Grinspun, CEO of RNAO. We have Jeremy Panting. He's started the process to be an RN. And we also have Christine Burria. She's an international educated nurse from the Philippines living in Canada. Well, I want to start with you, Dr. Doris.
We have these 20,000 RNs and RPNs and NPs that were nurses in their home countries that are here in the sidelines, eager to work and help our colleagues that are stretched to the limit. It's like an elastic that already broke. And they need help. So not only we need to help them with better compensation and working conditions, part of the working conditions, Raul, is to bring the 20,000 that are living in Ontario to work. But every moment that we hear more, I get more upset, because when we took the issue, to tell you the truth, and this will be new to my colleagues, when we took the issue, we actually years ago, because people have been contacting me on and off, and I kind of walk them through the college, and I think, oh, we did good with one person, another person. But then when we started to look in depth, we realized that it's 20,000, and guess what? In addition to the 20,000, today we discovered there is an additional 5,000 that are no longer in contact with the college, which means 1 year or more, which means likely there are 5,000 that either gave up or they just said not with the college. So this puts Ontario in a really bad situation, puts patients and staff in a bad situation. And this is why these courageous colleagues that are speaking out and loud is very, very important, and we stand with them.
Thank you, Doctor. And Christine, I would like to ask you, what do you think is the biggest challenge that you have faced in the process to become, to get a job and to work in Ontario as an RN?
Actually, when I first came here, I came here as a nanny or a caregiver. So maybe I'm gonna tell it's the money. You know what I mean? Because, you know, ENS itself, it's like $600. If I'm gonna tell you the, you know, the estimate money for that, like, you know, and also
$600 is the process, huh?
Yes, and then CNO, the next one, and then the NCLEX itself, like the exam, and the English exam as well, right?
So the English exam now, they fix the criteria after the push, but the rest is it's tons of money.
Yeah. How about you, Jeremy? I know that your process has been a little longer. There have been a lot of red tape, as they call it, in the middle. But what do you think has been the biggest challenge or the biggest issue that you have to confront in order to get what you need?
Let me just correct you on that. I did process my application for a registered nurse and registered practical nurse a year ago. But then again, our main issue here is we're trying to, because they open a legislation that makes it easier for internationally educated nurses to actually fulfill the educational requirement in Ontario by allowing the NCLEX examination to be a sort of an assessment tool to assess whether this people are eligible to practice in Canada. Now, what happened is they passed the legislation, and the legislation dictates that only people that took the examination, the NCLEX examination specifically from 2013 and above, will be admitted and will fulfill the educational requirement. Now, in our case, I took the examination way back 2011, so I am not able to fulfill my educational requirement unless I take the OSCE exam. And the thing is, the OSCE examination is a very tedious examination process, and at the same time, there are very the schedule is it's actually very hard to schedule the examination itself. So, and at the same time, if you fail the OSCE examination, you need to go back to the school to actually fulfill the educational requirement. Well, in fact, if a person, for example, in my case, I graduated 2009, For example, if an individual, an international education nurse, graduated in 2005 and took the NCLEX examination right now, he will fulfill the educational requirement immediately. But in my case, since I took it 2011, I'm not able to fulfill it. So my only chance now is take the OSCE examination. And if I fail, I need to go back to school. But if a person fails the NCLEX, they can take it, if they have money, they can just reschedule and reschedule it until they fulfill the examination.
And Jeremy,
Yeah.
how much is this the exam itself, the OSCE?
OSCE examination, the whole process, ma'am, I don't have a rough draft. The OSCE examination is actually $1,500. The whole examination.
$1,500.
I
Yeah,
agree
and
with
the
that.
process.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very, very pricey examination. And at the same time, it actually dictates the how fast you get admitted to the college. So if you pass the examination, it's going to be faster to you. But if you fail the examination, you need to go back to school. So that affects the whole process for you. So in our case, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to ask CNO actually, and we actually send a lot of petition letters to different government departments regarding these issues, that at least let us have the capability just to retake the NCLEX examination. If they don't want to admit an NCLEX examination in 2011, then let us retake it. Give us the ability to retake the examination so that we can immediately fulfill the educational requirement and immediately practice in Canada.
And Jeremy, if I may ask, Raul, how much is the exam these days? The NCLEX.
NCLEX examination, I think it's around.
I took it like last 2021. So it's like two-way process. First, you have to look for a US states that you're gonna get the eligibility to take the exam. So it's like $150. And then after that, you're gonna schedule an exam, which is cost like for about $200 as well.
But I'm a bit confused, Christine, because the NCLEX is also given by the College of Nurses of Ontario here.
Yes, as of now, as what Mr. Jeremy said, they already announced a new rules and regulation in which if you already pass the US NCLEX exam, they're gonna verify it here in Canada as the same as Canadian NCLEX exam as well.
Dr. Doris, even so, I see here a pattern of a mess. There's problems everywhere. There's a lot of changes. I can see this not only the stress of the money, but many issues in the process, in the papers, etc. And I would like to know what do you know it's going on right now as the biggest problem for all nurses?
The more I hear my colleagues, the more upset I become, because the system is collapsed. And here you have people that I can already, by seeing them, say they should take the exam. And, if they don't pass the exam, that's a different problem, but let them take the exam because I don't understand what's going on. A Canadian, you know what I mean? And then if you want to a supervised practice, if they need a supervised practice in addition to the exam, put a supervised practice. Anyways, for Ontario nurses, when they graduate, they can enter what's called the NGG, New Graduate Guarantee Program, which RNAO succeeded many years ago to get. In this program, the new grads start in a unit mentored by someone for 3 months. They're not counted, they're supernumerate, they're not counted as staff. And so they have 3 months of orientation. Why not to do the same with these colleagues? Why not, right? We are short of nurses. So they were nurses in their country. The papers were verified, I understand from Jeremy at least, right?
Yes.
They know that they have the credit, the requirements. They passed the practice, they passed the English. They did at one point the NCLEX, like 2 years before the other. You know what I mean? It's not like 15 years before the other. I don't understand this. I went from Israel to the US, and I took the NCLEX back then, many years ago. You know how many years I had not, taken the exam, and I passed the exam. Then I came to Canada. I can tell you my process after, but there was something back then. There was an organization called HPRAC, Health Regulators Professions. It doesn't exist anymore. It's on paper there in the website, but it doesn't exist. And I actually appeal. to NCLEX. So I know exactly what they're going through. And we are going to get to the bottom of it. Number one, because this is 20,000 people that deserve a fair process and a speedy process. That's number one. Number two, because if they were nurses in their countries, I understand we need to do due diligence. You cannot have someone that says was a nurse and was not a nurse, but their papers were verified, right, Jeremy?
Yeah. In my case, yes, it was verified by the NNAS, actually. My CNO process is now pending. But again, I do understand the frustration, Dr. Doris. It's we are lacking, like according to the news, 22,000 nurses in Ontario. And in my specific group, where if you allow us to retake the NCLEX, there's going to be at least 200 more individuals that are willing to work as nurses.
200, huh?
Yeah, just 200, just specifically in my group. And there's many more. It's not just us. It's not only Filipino nurses, but it's different nationalities.
And where do you want to work, Jeremy?
Because I am a clinical instructor I'm a clinical instructor by profession, actually, way back in the Philippines. I've been teaching also life supports. So most likely I'll be in universities, or I also have clinical practice in chemotherapy. So I want to be a chemotherapy nurse. And if need to, in this pandemic, I'd be willing to actually be assigned to a COVID unit, no problem.
Everybody wants these nurses to work. The chief nurses, my colleagues, they want them.
Personally, I already completed my Canadian requirements. So what's stopping me right now is my immigration status. I don't have work permit to be employed as a nurse.
It will get sorted, Christine.
Yes, hopefully, Miss Dr. Doris.
My colleagues that are already in the workforce also need workloads that are less heavy. And to have less heavy workloads, we need more graduates from Ontario, and we need these 20,000 IENs to be processed like this, especially if some already have passed the exam. They're waiting for the papers from the feds. Others passed the exam in 211, but 211 is not good enough for the college. They need 213, then let them take the exam again.
Hopefully we can share this with everybody, and hopefully, and more important, we can give a solution for these 20,000 international educated nurses that we have in Ontario. So thank you, Christine, Jeremy, and Dr. Doris.
RNAO invites you to help us ensure internationally educated nurses, or IENs, are processed quickly in Ontario. Send us a picture of you with a sign telling us your country of origin, if you practice there as an RN, RPN, or NP, and how long you've been waiting for your nursing credentials to be validated in Ontario. At RNAO, your experiences matter.